Jesus was walking on water and the disciples were in the boat. The rock had to make a decision to stay in the boat or step out the boat. The rock had to make a decision whether he was going to stay in the boat or step out of the boat. And no, I'm not talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm talking about Peter, the disciple that Jesus named the Rock. Now, let's get into the story. Jesus and the disciples, they had just finished feeding 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Jesus decided that he wanted to go pray, but he told the disciples, go on ahead, go to the other side. And I don't know if they wondered, how are you going to get to the other side? But that's what Jesus said, and they followed his instructions. And Jesus, he did that a lot. He went by himself to pray. Now, the disciples are struggling as they're trying to get across the lake. The wind and the waves are against them. And as they're struggling to get across the lake, they see something coming in the distance. They must have been asking each other, what is that? Do you see that? No. Do you see that, what I see? And Jesus saw that they were becoming more and more afraid. So he called out and he said, hey, it's just me. Just walking on water here. And Peter, he had a brilliant idea. Of course. He said, Jesus, if this is you, tell me to come to you on the water. Imagine how the other disciples must be looking at Peter right now. First, the wind and the waves are there, and the water is coming in the boat. Everybody's probably wet. Everybody's probably miserable. And Jesus is in the middle of it. He's out there in the water, and Peter is asking Jesus to tell him to come. Let's stick a pin. What does that mean for you and for me? How can we walk on water? You see, Jesus, he taught his disciples to do things that were not ordinary. This was a regular thing that Jesus did. He taught them something like this. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. Yeah. He also taught them to love their neighbor. That meant loving people who maybe other people may not like. Now, let's get back to the story because, yeah, it didn't finish there. Peter didn't just walk on water, do-de-do-de-do, and that was the end of that. No. So Peter walked on water. Yes, he did. And he got to Jesus. I think he did. And then he started focusing on the waves and the wind. And he started to sink. And of course, he yelled, Jesus, save me. And so Jesus reached out his hand and grabbed him out of the water. And Peter probably grabbed onto him for dear life and said, Jesus, never let me go. And so Jesus saved Peter. Now, imagine you're blowing up a balloon, and before you could tie it off, the air escapes and the balloon blows all over the room, and you have to go find it. That's kind of what happened to Peter. See, he had full faith when he stepped out of the boat. Remember, he stepped out of the boat, and the other disciples stayed in the boat. Yeah, they didn't all say, me. No, Peter was the only one who stepped out of the boat. But when he started seeing the wind and the waves, the faith kind of just like drained out of him and he started to sink. How can that relate to you and me? Well, it could look like starting to do a very good thing, but then you started focusing on what people were saying, what people are thinking about you, and you decided to stop doing the good thing. It could also be that you started something new, a new hobby. You wanted to learn it. And it started to get hard, and so you quit instead of continuing this new hobby. Do you know that the same God who helped you to start the good thing is the same God who's going to help you to finish the good thing? Yeah. All you have to do is to keep your eyes on Jesus, no matter what. And that can mean calling on him for help, even if it is every step of the way. It could mean asking him, what do I do next? I am stuck. And you know what happened after Jesus caught Peter? They both walked back to the boat, and the disciples worshiped Jesus and said, truly, you are the Son of God. Repeat after me so we can lock this in, because we want to be strong water walkers with Jesus. Just as Jesus walked on water, I can do big things. If I keep my eyes on Jesus, I will not sink. Let's do it again. Just as Jesus walked on water, I can do big things. If I keep my eyes on Jesus, I will not sink. Now sing this song with me. I wrote it just for you and myself too, to remember that I can be a strong water walker with Jesus.
Walking on water isn't very easy, but walking with Jesus, that is what gives us the faith and courage to do the impossible. Walk on, walk on, walk on water with him. Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling me to walk on, walk on, walk on water with him. Hey, 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 hey. Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling me to walk on, walk on, walk on water with him. Jesus, he's teaching you. Jesus, he's helping you to stand when others fear, to love when no one cares. They tell you to play cool. They tell you you're just in school. You're too tall or too short or too small to do big things. No, 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 no. Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling me to walk on, walk on, walk on water with. Jesus is calling you. Jesus is calling me to walk on water with him. Oh, oh. Jesus is calling you. Jesus, he's calling me to walk on water with him. So walk on. So walk on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Walk on. Walk on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we're walking underwater. We're walking underwater, children. We're walking underwater. With him.
Now remember, there are times when you may sink, but in those times, We can be just like Peter and call out to God to grab a hold of us, and he will take our hand and pull us back in. He will never leave us. From Coco's heart to yours. Bye.